They say you running plays, that's ish talk. You say you getting paid, that's ish talk. You see me with my babe, that's ish talk. The money in the way, that's ish talk. I beg, I beg, I beg.
Yo, welcome to another episode of The Lord Show, Ish Talk TV, representing for the DMV. I hope you got some kush at the crib, some cat in the bed, and some cash in your pocket. What more can be said? I'm your host, B More, aka Princess Amunda. This show, we're talking about violent Venezuelan gangs taking over the DMV. A stepdad shoots an unalive 15-year-old son for not doing the damn dishes. In Charles County, they're crazy out there, and reports of third world living conditions in Suitland, Maryland. That and more. And don't forget the question of the show. In your opinion, what was the most poppin' mall in the DMV, past and present? Leave a comment and we will post you. All right. We got Mr. Cool from Explicit Intelligence, and also poet, author, and host of the Dope Dichotomy, Mona Brown's in the house, and eventually award-winning actress, voiceover, and co-host of the Let's Rock podcast, Leslie Olabisi, is coming through in the house. But welcome to the show, y'all. How y'all doing?
What's good? I'm doing good. How are you?
And Mona, welcome back to Ish Talk. It's been a while. Good to see you.
It's been a while. It's good to see you too. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no problem. But it's rough in DC, y'all. We got what's been happening in the DMV, y'all. On the weekend, we got the DC women's soccer team. They lost in the championship.
Damn it.
The shout out to the Go-Go Museum. It opened up.
Hey.
Hopefully everyone goes there. But I saw one clip of somebody. They had some sort of CGI Cedar's World of Big G in there. I don't know about that part, but
I
but
think
still
I
support
seen
them.
that.
Miss Cedar baby.
Hey, I'm Big G.
How you gonna do things like that?
Right.
And also, shout out to Cross. I'm not sure if y'all seen it yet, but
It's
gives
on Prime.
Oh, it's on Prime.
Yeah, it's on Prime. Yeah.
Gives DC his flowers. Have y'all watched it yet?
Yes, that's my show.
I accidentally watched a couple episodes. I was like, what is this Joe? I was like, oh, this that Cross Joe. And I kept watching it.
Mm-hmm.
It's good. I just finished the whole series.
I gotta start over.
Oh,
I need to start over from day one.
I gotta
But
catch
have
up.
y'all watched Penguin on HBO Max? That show is banging.
Oh yeah.
I heard a couple episodes, and it's like Sopranos and mixed in with like the comics. Batman.
Yeah,
is Batman like featured on that, John?
Not yet, but he was in the last Batman movie. Penguin was.
Okay, so they did it off him because he was a good Penguin. He don't even look like Penguin.
Yeah,
he
that's
look like
Colin Farrell still playing him. It's dope, and they have a villain in that joint, and that girl is a beast. It's really good. I highly recommend that show.
Penguin and Cross.
Penguin and Cross. But let's get to the Cross, the Super Bowl of the DC area. Well, for the Commanders, guys, it was a tough loss. Commanders lost the Super Bowl Part 1. It seemed like they still haven't got their signature win yet. And unfortunately, because of the loss, I'm pretty sure there was a lot of domestic violence after the game. I'm pretty sure a lot of women got thrown up against the wall with the TV and the DraftKings bets. So
they better learn how you grits.
Fellas in that pissy ass tank top. Shut the fuck up.
I just want to say, cool. Are you okay, sir? I'm surprised you even joined the show. Are you okay, sir? I saw you posted.
I'm good. Yeah, I'm good. I'm all right. That whole second half was kind of predicted by me. I said, this is Dallas and Washington. Something fluke about that happening. God damn it. The last 3 minutes, I was like, please end us right now. Pull the trigger, please. This shit was crazy. So what I did appreciate though, I went to the Steelers game. It felt like an away game. But Dallas didn't come prepared this week. They wasn't shackled about in Northwest Stadium. So I was glad for that. Fuck them niggas.
Jay-Z was there. That's what I
Fuck
heard.
that nigga. Fuck that nigga too.
I'm like, how do you lose with so? If this
That's
was a
why
good,
we lost.
too much pressure to go
It better
against
not,
Jay-Z.
Ben. I've been like, who? He here? Man, screw that nigga. Screw him.
But haven't the Commanders been doing real good this season?
Yes.
Not in the past 3 weeks. Been funking it up. We lost to
Oh.
2 Scranton teams, and then we lost to Dallas today.
Damn.
If you could win, if it was a game to win, they should have won that one. But if it was a game to win for Dallas, they should have. It was a good win for them. But
they probably hold off 10 wins right now.
But what are we in the division now?
I think we still second. We hold the second place down still because Giants some shit.
Okay.
And then Dallas is still some shit.
All right. Well, at least we are ranked 4th when it comes to package theft. Let's get to that DC news.
Oh, shit.
While porch piracy may be leveling out, numbers are still very high in the district. There's a reason to be concerned. DC ranks 4th worst city in the country for package theft with over 231 million in losses this year. Rebecca Edwards from Safety Expert at SafeWise says that we estimate there are about 213 package theft incidents per 100 households in the DC area. That could represent nearly 500 out of 1,000 people actually being impacted by this. So number 1 is New York City. Number 2 is Philly. Number 3 is Chicago.
Believable.
Number 4 is us. And it's such a condensed area like DC, we 4th.
That shit.
It's not shocking to me though. I think any major city is going to have more thefts. I mean, they're stealing down here in Fredericksburg, so I know damn well they're going to steal in DC.
Yeah, they still in PG.
You know,
PG a hot spot.
Have somebody?
I be wanting to steal boxes. I'm not gonna lie. I be seeing packages and the neighbors take too long. I be like, I wonder what the fuck that is.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm the designated package holder. Cool. Can you go get my package and hold it till I get back? I got you.
Oh.
So people trust you. Okay.
People trust me. People trust me. People trust me.
Have anybody stolen?
Damn, them packages do be looking good though.
Have any of y'all stole a package before? I had to.
I've never stolen a package before, but I did work for Amazon, and I heard all the stories and see how the Amazon drivers be stealing packages and going to Wawa and unloading packages for people and all kinds of shit. It's wild.
I fear karma too much to do so.
Me too. I don't do that, but it's not just the people stealing them off people's porches. The drivers are stealing the stuff too.
Damn, it's a whole little monopoly. One hand wash the other.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
I stole my neighbor's package because they were fucking with me. They were
justified.
And then
they probably had some good shit.
Exactly. I opened it up. It was some what's the name? Rihanna's brand.
Oh shit.
Fenty?
The Fenty Joe.
Yes.
Damn.
And it fit my wife perfectly, so it worked out.
Did they call you? They say, "Hey, did you find a package?"
And what's she going? How's she gonna find out? It's lingerie, so you know what I mean.
Now I have had a package come to my house from somebody who lived there before, and I never sent it back or anything. It was all kinds of bathing suits, and it was my size, and I kept all that shit. But I didn't know how to get in touch with the girl.
Hey, tough. I had this badass
Somebody got to
knock on my door. She had a package of hers came to me, and she came straight to me and was like, "Did something come to you?" I was like, "Yeah, this box. I thought it was mine. I'm sorry. I opened it, but I ain't opened it all the way." But as I watch her, I gave her a package. And I watched her walk away. I was like, God damn, she was thick as shit. I was like, damn, keep fucking up on your packages, please.
You should have shot your shot.
Nah, I can't do the neighbor.
You should be. I'm cool. I can hold your package next time.
Oh,
yeah, it's neighbor.
Yeah.
You don't want to shit where you eat?
Heck no. They be like, I saw that girl coming out your house. Who's that? I thought we was something.
Ooh.
Papa, who this woman?
Where you going?
But what do y'all think about people that actually steal, that actually it's like a profession for them?
That shit sucks, man.
What kind of mindset is that? Yeah.
Yeah, you fucking people lives up. temporarily, man. That
Right.
$500, that PlayStation, you got that. Congratulations, by the way. But god damn it, bruh.
Let's.
I go by the old saying, if you lie, you'll steal, and if you steal, you'll kill. I think it's just a
Ooh.
slippery
Woo!
slope.
You
Yeah,
going to some
cause they
biblical
some
shit.
shit
You want
too.
somebody's hands cut off, Mona? Jesus Christ! All right, so let me ask
Get
y'all
'em.
about this. I can't stand. What needs to come back? What we're missing is shame.
We
I
are
think
missing
Yeah.
we
Shane.
need to put shame back into the game because stuff like this, when you stealing from stores and they even got, maybe they should have had these African security guards be blocking for Jalen Daniels.
Oh hell, oh yeah.
Because
Oh
maybe
hell yeah.
it might do
Get his
something.
ass. Look how he holding him up.
Oh, damn.
And you can tell it's an
Yeah.
African because they try and kick him.
Hell
Man,
yeah.
man said, I don't got nothing. I don't got nothing.
In the nuts too.
In the nuts.
With the gray sweatpants.
No.
Trying to catch
Get
something.
his ass. Get
Kick his
him. Beat
ass.
him.
And then this is in Wheaton.
What do you think you're going to
Somebody in
Scold him.
Safeway.
Rock him. Damn.
Don't come back here.
He
Let me
look
see.
like a Bama from Hyattsville.
Oh, Jesus.
How you
Ain't
gonna
no
do
way
crime
I would be
in
fighting
skinny
somebody
jeans?
for my little job. There's no way.
Hey, that's what I'm saying. Like,
I'm not fighting with skinny jeans.
they need to get these Africans security guards to block for Jalen Daniels, just how
Bonuses.
they be blocking for these perishable cans. But shame on them. Shame
Right.
on them.
You will not get the canned potatoes.
Right. But let's get to other dangers in the DMV, the DC. WMATA they're coming up with a new plan to get bus fare evaders. They're gonna start ticketing them. They're gonna start having more police at certain train stations, bus stations. Let me ask y'all before I read the article: do you think that people should be locked up for not paying?
No,
Ultimately,
no.
why?
I think. Go
I
ahead.
think that that's a petty crime, and we put too many people in jail anyway, and we have a prison industrial complex, and that's just adding to it. I think that there's other ways to go about doing that and offering people different ways to be able to afford bus fare, because obviously if they're always not paying, they can't afford it, or if they're just young kids and they don't want to pay. You know what I'm saying? But to lock somebody up over that is ridiculous to me. They obviously need money if they're starting to put police and everybody else to it, if they're trying to crack down on that, because I mean, how much is bus fare? Come on.
Yeah, I ain't for locking up, but I'm definitely down for banning their ass. Ban them from the
Yeah, you can
metro
ban
stop.
them from getting on the bus.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and if that don't work, then that don't work. You just gonna have to figure it out. But packing the prisons up or the jails up with misdemeanors like that, I can't stand it. Like if I
Mhm.
if I was a metro ride, I'd be like, come on, bro, I pay $40. You pay your
Right. Yeah.
42.
If somebody hopping
Yeah.
on the bus and then they're paying their monthly thing, and then
Yeah,
they get on and they see somebody just come up and just get on the bus and just sit down and be arguing with people. And then I was a bus driver, and then I had somebody ask me if I gotta pay, how come they don't have to pay? And I just be like, I don't know, man. Just leave me alone.
like, do you want them problems, bro?
Do you want those problems? I'm not
You
trying to
want
get
them
spit
problems?
on.
You know what I'm saying?
Uh,
Or worse.
or worse, somebody might shoot me. The article says WMATA has been getting tough on fare evasion on the rails for some time now, but the transit agency says is now turning its attention to the buses. More than 70% of bus riders aren't paying the fares right now. Metro officials say uniform
God dang.
officers.
70?
God dang.
Ooh.
Bro, like if you
God.
go on the 70 line from Silver Spring to down to the museums in DC, the whole ride be packed and nobody's paying. The Great White Hope general manager Randy Clark said a place like Silver Spring, where there's a lot of bus bays, or Minnesota Avenue, or that type of example, we might have 3 or 4 officers, but now we might target them with some special police or transportation supervisors, and we'll spread them out in different ways, different bays, and they're just stand out by the door. And basically, if you don't pay, you're not getting on. And the P12 line in PG County and the X2 line in DC are just two of the bus routes being eyed for increased enforcement. I don't think people should. Well, I think you should be. You should get something, a ticket, if you're not paying. Uh,
Yeah.
they trying to make it easy. I'm pretty sure there's programs for you, but like I said last time, if you if you expect people to pay and then you tell them they don't have to pay, they're gonna get used to not paying. But which I think, man.
Yeah, but I think that his idea about banning them is cool, and they could actually create a database very easily and give the people a choice. Do you want to spend a weekend in jail, or do you want to put your name in this database? And after 3 times, you're banned from getting on the bus. It's to me, it's very simple to fix it.
And you get back, you take your ban off as if you paid a fare that you stole. Like
Yep.
if you got caught 3 times fucking around, well, you got to pay a $20 fine to erase that ban and get back on. Now
Yeah.
you can't keep doing it, repeating the offense 3 times and getting banned and trying to reverse it. Eventually, we just gonna be like, you can't come on, period, because you smacked in the game. But
Right.
yeah, if you smacked in the game, now we gotta talk about, hey, we gotta take your ass in, bro, because you ain't even paying the fine either. So I
Yeah.
mean, 70% saying they losing money, and if they adding on to the Fed prices, is that the
Yeah.
reason why?
Yeah,
Because they
exactly.
still in that shit. They said, well, we gotta get it up because we ain't making no money. Pause. I can't stand playing that game, but I clearly was violated.
70% is a big number.
Someone comment online, they were saying how Metro is focused on the wrong shit. Why the bus is not clean?
True.
And
But maybe if they had their bus fare money, that they would be able to clean the buses better.
They
yeah,
could get the
yeah,
cleaner.
yeah.
They could buy the cleaner and get the mops and shit. They probably running out of mops. Can't get it
Right.
from Rick. Rick bought his mop from home.
Okay, let's get to the VA news, but I want to say
Yay.
shout out to Pots and Pans DC. Uh, they have a large range of infused, not infused, food, seafood, everything. Reach out to them, follow them on Instagram, and also follow C&D Catering. It's Thanksgiving time. Give them a shout out, follow them. They might help you out. So shout out to C&D Catering. Let's get to VA side 703. Is that Mona? That's you. That's your people. That's your
Yep,
people.
that's it. Woodbridge.
All right, all right, all right. Your Woodbridge breakout country star, what's his name? Shabuzi faced
Shabuzi.
multiple
Okay.
alleged racial microaggressions at the 2024 Country Music Awards. Do you listen to his music, Mona?
I do. My daughter put me on a Shabuzi like a long time ago.
What about you, Cool?
Nah, I just know Fox 5 love the shit out of Shabuzi. Didn't he come out with the Bama the remake
Right.
Tipsy or some
Tipsy.
shit?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
and
Yep.
he the cool Bama with the dreads and shit.
Yeah. His music is
Oh,
actually dope though. If you can,
I
if you listen
heard.
to it,
I
it's
heard.
actually
I
dope.
want to take a listen. That's what's up. From VA, I gotta
Yeah.
represent because I'm Arlington out this
All
jump.
right,
There you go.
Arlington.
Off the heels of
Hey,
what was now the longest running #1 hit in Billboard history, the A Bar song Tipsy performer was in attendance at this year's ceremony as a two-time nominee. He would end the night with nothing. Nothing.
Latanya.
Only thing he
Latanya.
came only thing he came out with was multiple white country artists making fun of him. Starting off with the
Damn.
embarrassing run of jokes was CMA's co-host Peyton Manning. If you got Peyton Manning making his big forehead ass making fun of you, uh he uttered holy shabuzi
Peyton,
as the segued
Peyton Manning.
between Peyton Manning sentences. Singer Luke Bryant, who assisted Manning with hosting duties, followed that up with a remark related to Shabuzi's history-making #1 song, a bar song. Oh, it's 18 weeks at the top Billboard.
Number
Wow.
one.
Yeah, he deserved more than 2 nominations too. He ran the country game. Like he ran that shit.
Huh.
Last
Wow.
year.
But people online saying they're not surprised.
I'm not
They
surprised.
know,
Wow.
yeah, what they did to Beyonce, what they gonna do to you?
Yeah.
But do y'all agree that it's hate or it's just it doesn't belong there?
Of
I
course we
think it's a
belong
little
there.
bit
We
of
we
both.
created country music, so of course
Yeah.
we belong there. First of all, Secondly, it is hate. They always hate when we come over and showcase that we can do just what they can do, just better. Always. But he shouldn't be surprised. He should have prepared himself for that.
That's all I'm saying. Like I'm tired of the Grammys. I'm tired of us going to these awards expecting like they're gonna hand us out. They not ever. Maybe once in the blue moon they throw you a cookie. Eat it and shut the fuck up. Or hold BET and all these other black awards accountable, because when it's time for us to do our awards, we ratchet that place out. And would you want to give somebody at the top of the charts like Shabuzi a BET award, because the national the globally they'll be like, that don't count. He ain't got a Grammy yet. But fuck the Grammys, because if we that powerful, then our own awards assemblies, they'll be wanting to come to our joint. And for a minute, I seen that happening. Like they started gravitating to our awards because it was prestigious.
Yeah,
and if
like
you ain't,
what's that white
you
thing?
got a black award, you got it in. But now it's like, fuck the black awards and fuck you, Shabuzi and Beyonce.
Right. They come into our stuff. They get whatever they can get, and then when it's time for them to be white again, they go out. But when we try to spread out, it's all hate.
Nah, we don't want you here.
Right.
Yeah, they have gatekeepers, but they're not going to be able to stop it. His music is dope. We're taking over, and there's a lot of black artists that are doing country music now, and we're coming to take it back. Period.
Can't stop the numbers. The numbers don't lie.
Who cares about a CMA award? Like, who cares?
Everybody will get tipsy. I don't even know how to jump though, but shout out to him, man. Way to represent out the DMV, Shabuzi.
Yeah.
And apparently he's Nigerian or something like that. But I think he got his I think he got his Negro wake up call. But we're gonna move on. We got Mona Brown in the house. We got Cool in the house. Let's get to Maryland, y'all.
There could be another worst apartment in PG. Now, based on everyone's comments on our Heather Hills apartment video, many of our followers mentioned Carriage Hill apartments in Suitland and that they needed to be called out. So here we go, because they have horrible living conditions, from brown running water to security guards sleeping with the residents.
That's some nasty shit. Man. That's some nasty work.
Are you for serious?
Taking showers and shit.
Now, y'all seen these security dudes. They be like not that old, and they got nothing going on, and they're not securing nothing, but they're looking at every little
smoking
hot
cigarettes,
pants, leggings, and tight jeans that walks by.
You need your plumbing fixed.
You know, you on Instagram. You on Instagram. That's what
they getting them pipes clean. They open them. They
all of the service requests that are being put in are just falling by the wayside. People on social media have commented, Carriage Hill should be at the top of the list of the worst apartments in PG. Yep. It's mold in the vents and hella mice. The fact that this is just something that rolls off of people's tongue, and we're expected to live like this. Someone else said, this is the worst apartment to live in by far. The office staff is very rude, except for 2 females. I like the fact they didn't throw everybody under the bus. They and them 2 females know who they're talking about, right? And the security guards take advantage of their title and sleep with residents. Since I've only been here since November. We in November. Let me show my experiences. Brown water and all that, they need to be shut down immediately. And I believe that we just showed the brown water photo and the water damage. Mr. Cool, how do you?
Yes.
What you got? Do you know of Carriage Hill? Have you ever heard of it?
I haven't drove past it.
I probably have in my years, but never paid attention to it. I know I had seen it, but I haven't been in it inside.
Be more. What about you?
Hell no. But to live like this right here.
Look at that.
No.
That's in somebody's hallway.
Yeah, I'm out of there.
That's the utility closet.
I'm out of there.
So instead of taking care of this, you sleeping with the tenants.
Hey, he's security. He can't clean the pipes.
Trying to get some. instead of cleaning the pipes, you trying to lay pipe.
He laying.
It's disrespectful.
Come on to C3.
It's disrespectful.
Come on to apartment C3. She opened that door. He knocked.
Oh my gosh. And
Security.
I know the type. I know as soon as they said that the security be trying to sleep, I already know the type.
She probably played R. Kelly.
They got dreads.
It's the same way. You know what? The security, like wax security in them apartment buildings is very similar to some of them supervisors in the metro train station. You know the ones. They just be very much like not engaged, not serious. Because there's some supervisors in them train stations, they are serious about their job. They got a stern face. They're not giving you change. They're not giving you no free swap.
If he knock on the door, they ain't gonna do nothing.
No. They're gonna make you use the button to speak. But then you got the ones that's quick to open the door. They want to lean all over you, and they like posing. And how can I help you? How can I help you? What seems to be the problem? You know what I'm saying? That's the type of security that they got over there. And let me tell you something. Okay, these slumlords, something needs to be done about these slumlords, because it's not okay to just let maintenance fall by the wayside. And then basically we're in a time now where it's like, try me. What you gonna do about it? Do something. It's not, let me do the right thing. Let me do what I'm contractually obligated to do. Let me do what is appropriate and professional. No, I'm gonna do what I want to do. Try me. Stop.
I don't know. I don't know if this is like if it'll work or not, but I did some research and I found out a number you can call if you're having a problem at your apartment complex. It's called PGC 311 if you are inside of the county, or 301-883-4748 if you ain't familiar with that and shit. You got shit crawling all over your wall and shit and grasshoppers coming out your sink. Call that.
Okay, grasshoppers.
Get that in.
So you're saying in PGC, dial 311?
Yeah. So call PGC 311. Or
that's 6 digits.
Yeah, I don't know. I just read what I Googled.
I think it's just 311.
311. Yeah, call 311.
That's the non-emergency line.
If you're in the county, call 311. And then if you don't feel comfortable with that because you think you're going to slip and hit that 9, go ahead and call 301-883-4748 and tell them I told you that too. They said, Cool told me.
Tell them Cool sent you. Cool sent me.
Tell them Cool
sent me. Like, who? I'm sorry, ma'am. Did you say who?
It's mice on the wall.
Mr. Cool?
The guy from YouTube and shit.
What did he say?
the guy
he told you to call me because what?
Fix my shit. My unit broke.
Your basement is flooded.
My refrigerator walking.
If something happened in 2022, 2023, that's not enough time for 2024 to roll around and things to be completely different. So the way I see it, these reviews are still most relevant. Okay, so we have the shoe plug, and he does not recommend Carriage Hill Apartments. He says the worst experience ever. First of all, the staff is rude in the service center and the rental office. Apartments are mice infested. Also, when you report an issue, maintenance doesn't come to fix it. Rent is high as hell for low-income treatment.
You get what you pay for. And
we get it both from the service center and the rental office. The emergency hotline is rude and they don't even come.
What's your want?
He said currently, as of July 22nd, I haven't had hot water working in my shower because simple faucet came off, and they swear up and down somebody's gonna come and repair it.
Oh, Can you imagine? I thought you were about to say the office blamed the person.
He said, I don't recommend living here at all. I repeat, don't live here at all. And you know the thing is, what I will say though, for a lot of residents who are posting these things and we're saying, why are they still there? Remember, you sign a lease. So even if there's a reason for you to leave contractually, things go in order. So immediately once you leave and you break, that money is still due. And it's still on your credit or whatever.
Still on your credit.
If you go somewhere else and they have like a landlord rental, they have like a rental credit. It's separate from your regular credit. So when you go to try to get a place somewhere else,
Oh, I
the
didn't know
place
that.
that you just left, I looked up my rental report. I remember, because like I told you, I used to stay in Warman Court, and we'll get to that another. Maybe that's another story for another time. Maybe not this time, but you have a rental history, a rental credit report. So when you leave, if you've been evicted, if you didn't pay your rent, now the only thing is they don't delineate the difference between why you got evicted. But if you leave early and you have a balance left, security part, all that kind of stuff, that's there for the next person to see. So I can't understand why people will stay, because most people are living check to check. Most people can afford to do what they're doing right now. They can't afford to double it. You know what I'm saying?
I think there should be education. I think there should be education on
On
apartment
like your
rental.
your laws
Cause,
and your
yeah,
rights
because
and stuff.
you had back in the day, you had youngins. Like my brother went in. I want to say he was like 18, 19 when he bought it, when he got his first apartment. Had roaches and everything, but he was happy. But I'm sure if he knew the rules and regulations and shit, he probably would have did better as a youngin. He might even have stayed home. Because I think you should stay home for as long as you can and just stack that paper.
Man, somebody called it the punishment apartments. They said do the right thing so you
Damn,
don't end up here. The CM for the
punishment.
building was rude 2 times. Rude. And Rainbow Fashions made her boo made
Punishing
Rainbow
department.
must have been in the building, like the plaza or whatever. They said Rainbow made him bold and bougie, I guess.
Oh,
But here's not a good one. He said, I lived here for 4 years and it was the worst. It was cheap when I first moved in, but always had problems. The living room blinds fell, the tub moved, the dishwasher didn't work, mice
what?
problems. The living room patio door never closed all
Hey,
the way,
bro.
causing black mold issues. The bedroom patio screen door had space in it that if we left the glass door open
Oh my
and
goodness.
screen door closed, bugs still came in.
Oh my
That's
goodness.
something. I'm sorry. That's something you could have went
I'm
to
still buzzing off the
Lowe's.
bathtub moving.
The Lowe's and the
The
Home Depot. You
bathtub
could have
moves.
replaced that screen
The
part.
junk move. What it do? The
And it
junk
wasn't.
move.
And I don't think it was a clawfoot tub.
So
So how did that?
the
So
bathtub. You know what a
it's supposed
bathtub
to be
is?
attached to the wall, right?
The junk did this.
Hold up. Wait. What did it
That's
do?
what
What
you
did the
did
ball? What
this.
did it
The bathtub did this. How do you take a shower after that? How do you take a shower after that? Nah, I'm out, man. I just
Oh.
be at somebody's crib, be like, I'm gonna be paying rent over
They
there
said the
until my
bushes
lease is up.
overgrew our walking stones. So that means how you got the stones and then it's
Yeah,
with the stuff
dang.
in between. It said the
You got
bushes
called Ghostbusters.
either on the side or
They
the
just hugged
bottom.
the
They
joint.
just
They
basically
just swallowed
crawling.
the joint up.
They just crawling through like the
There is
labyrinth
no
or something.
stone.
Like
You
Jumanji
gotta
or
step
something.
on bushes.
They said water bubbles in the kitchen. Oh, I
What?
think that means when you have a leakage and then on the ceiling or
Oh
whatever, you
my
get the bubbles
goodness.
in the paint.
That shit that could just pop off.
Oh
You
my.
just
And the bathroom. They had tile and wood boards under the carpet, and the wood boards would come up.
Oh
So
no.
parts of the floor were lifted.
Oh
Bro, I
no.
can't live like
That's
that,
not
bro.
funny. That's not
I
funny.
can't live
I'm
like
sorry.
that.
That is
But the
not
rent there
funny.
is cheaper than Heather Hill.
And that's what
It
it
is.
said. It's
Guys,
cheap.
but
They ain't say
listen,
nothing
But
if
about
do the
bats.
right
if you
thing
want
so
to,
you
it didn't
don't
say
end
nothing
up
about
here.
bats. Let's get to Maryland, y'all. A
What it
911
do?
caller had indicated to officials that the suspect, 48-year-old Darshawn Eric Williams, shot his 15-year-old stepson, Michael Edward Clemens. When officials arrived on the scene, they took Williams into custody without incident. Inside the home, they found Clemens unconscious and not breathing. 15-year-old. The officials performed CPR on Clemens until the medics arrived, but he was pronounced dead on the scene. Officials say Williams was upset with the 15-year-old for not completing some household chores. I was just talking to somebody maybe a month ago, and he was telling me about a while ago he had to put hands and feet on his son because he didn't do the dishes, and he ended up going to court over that and losing his son. Williams was charged with second-degree murder, first-degree assault, and other related charges. Fox 5 asked the Charles County Sheriff's Office rather anyone else was in the home at the time of the shooting, or rather the authorities have ever been called to the home before this incident. So they're waiting for that. But what if the mom? I don't know if the mom was there, but a stepfather. That's one of your worst nightmares. You be with somebody and you expect them to love your child, but then they the ones that take the life from your child. So very terrible.
You ain't my daddy.
Talk about usually a stepfather would just knock over a fort, but he killing somebody for not doing the chores. That must have been some ego shit, some testosterone. Because I'm pretty sure, just like when a woman have their daughter in the house, that their daughter's growing up, it could be some sort of animosity. Same thing with males too. It's kind of get to like a manly thing. You ain't gonna do the dishes, all right? I'm gonna show your ass.
Right.
But what's up?
Right.
Can y'all relate?
It was always, you know,
I cannot relate
shots to the body. It was always shots to the body.
Go ahead.
Shut the fuck up and do them dishes. Boop, 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 boop. Shots to the body. It was never, I get this gun and kill your ass. It was never that. Damn. Like remember the phrase that Claire said on Cosby Show? I brought you in this world and I can take you out.
But
That
you ain't
wasn't
even bring me in the world.
Yeah, it was just a joke. It was just a joke, y'all. Goddamn. Going by, but it's sad because you got this 15-year-old kid, man. Now he can't live his life because he didn't wash the dishes and some shit. Come on, right? You couldn't talk to him.
Mona, how about your son? It was just his birthday. Happy birthday to him. But you got something. Can you relate? I know you didn't. You ain't pistol whip him or nothing like that, did you?
So, as a mom of 3 children, I have definitely had moments where I've had to yoke up my kids before, but I also evolved and I also started learning more, and I learned more of why we tend to beat our kids. And I apologize to my children for actually giving them whoopings, and they forgave me for that. And I started to do things differently. In this generation, you really don't have to beat them. You just take that fucking PlayStation away. You take that phone away, and it will get you so much more than beating them and putting anger into them. I do understand they get frustrated, and sometimes you have to let them know that you are still their parent, but there is no reason that I can even fathom that a child could do something that would make me go get a gun. You take several steps. You think about it, you go get a gun, you cock the gun back, and you kill a child over some dishes. That means you are very unstable and something was wrong with you. There's nothing that boy did to deserve that. I don't care if he got smart with them, whatever. You could have punched him in the mouth. It would have been better than you shooting him.
To the body. Look, my mom used to play the last whooping I ever got. I was 19. She didn't lay hands on me. She used the Jedi mind trick. Now I was unemployed for about 2 months playing PlayStation 1. Every day I wake up, take a shower, go back in, eat a bowl of cereal.
How old were you, sir?
I was 19.
You said 19?
Yeah, 19. Failure to launch out this. I had just quit my job.
Launch.
So I had just quit my job and I was unemployed from August to October. And I think it was a September. I know it was still warm. She knocks on my door while I'm playing some type of ninja game. She's knocking on the door. I say, hey, she walks in. I was like, hey, what's up? She's like, hey, how you doing? I was like, I'm good. She's like, what you doing? I was like, just playing PlayStation. She was like, so what you doing? I was like, nothing. She said, that's the problem. And then slammed the door and walked away. I started crying. I was like, damn, it hit me immediately. I was like, damn, nothing.
Meow, meow, meow.
got my ass up, got my resume, got a job. I was like, I can't believe this. I still remember that whooping to this day.
She plays. You was playing ninja games and she ninja your ass.
Yeah, she came in. I was good. She's like, what you doing? I was like, playing PlayStation. She's like, yeah, what you doing? I was like, playing PlayStation. What you doing?
All right, we're back with Ish Talk TV, representing for the DMV. It's your boy B More. We got Cool, we got Mona, and we have a special guest, PG's County Councilwoman for District 6. Wala Blegay is in the house. How you doing, sister?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Oh, you're the best. Congratulations on your office and what you're doing. Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
We're going to talk about the living conditions in PG. We're going to talk about the new rent cap bill, 24-hour tobacco, and Bill 52, the data centers in PG. Is it good or bad? Do you mind we talk about that? Cool.
All of it. I'm ready for all of it.
Cool. Okay, so we did a video highlighting the living conditions at Heather Hill Apartments, and a lot of people were complaining. They were sending us different complexes around the PG area, Temple Hills, Suitland, and everything. And one person posted. Let me see if I can find it. It's part of the overall plan. They are hoping everyone leaves so they can properly gut out and renovate and charge $4,000 a month for a 1-bedroom. PG gentrification has already started. That's prime real estate close to the harbor, MGM, and DC. In 10 years from now, PG won't look the same. What do you say to people that feel like it's all a plan?
I don't quite think that. Actually, what we're saying is quite the opposite. Prince George's County might be the last of the group of having a lot of open land, versus DC is packed. People are on top of each other. Montgomery County has a lot of places dense, but Prince George's County has a lot of open land. And before, people never used to look at the county, but they are looking at now. What we are seeing is that new development is for those areas that are sort of open land. You might find that people are looking at the 1-bedroom expensive apartment in somewhere like Bowie, where they're going to build a new development and charge top rent for that. Not necessarily, we find that developers are not very interested in some of the inner Beltway communities. Just it really isn't very much interest in developing. What you're seeing is really just what I've said and I've said this to apartment owners, is that when somebody is involved with more affordable housing, there's a whole market of apartment buildings that are in that. They tend not to take care of the apartment buildings, and it does bring frustration. Either you're in the business or you should get out of it. If you are going to provide affordable housing for a certain group, then make sure they're not living in conditions that don't have running air conditions, that don't have all of these things. It seems like a lot of those apartments are more concerned with getting rent than doing simple upkeep. And I think that they are, in their minds, are not concerned with upkeep because they don't think that the residents there deserve it. And so we have met with the IOBA and some of the others. I know when we did rent stabilization when I first got in 23, we did a rent stabilization bill, and we found that that was the one time that all of these groups organized. But what I said to them is that we don't get the places that have higher standards. We usually, even though there's rent stabilization, we don't get many complaints. It is the places that are focused in inner Beltway communities that they are just very much on getting rent and not necessarily doing upkeep. And sometimes what you have to do is put your foot down. With Heather Hills, as you can see, the Attorney General's office had to step in and file complaints against them. For every one of these apartments, the owners and operators do not live here. Just understand that. They do not live here. They oftentimes are in other states like California, and they will hire local groups to actually run their apartment buildings. And that is really more for the those that are focused on the inner Beltway. So it really is hard to hold them accountable because oftentimes you have to go to California. I know one of the ones in Mark, we had issues, and frankly, the owners are not here.
Y'all got a question? Oh, y'all got something to add?
That was deep. Yeah, that was deep. You finally getting a little bit more information on it, because I would say, like, how many other apartments are there in that condition?
It's actually quite a few. We found that there's quite a few. We don't know unless the people complain. That's the reality of our offices. Right. As county representatives, we often I had one in my district. It's a crazy story. We had when the residents, it was a senior community, the residents were complaining because of crime. We went there, me and a senator went there to meet with the resident, and literally 3 cars were broken into while we were sitting there. And we walked out and saw the glass on the floor. It was unbelievable. There we had—
They were trying to show off in front of you or something.
Right, right. They
Wow.
opened up the door. When we met with the management person, I never forget this. We were asking why was there so much crime? It was clear that there weren't proper safeguards in place. And she says, well, we don't have to. And actually, what the residents told us is that there were no working cameras there.
Wow.
In front, and that was honestly that answered everything because one of the apartments that are upkept, like I said before, when you keeping it up is a different attitude. So we just knew something was up. We met with the management and the management person because the owners are out in California. The management companies can oftentimes act like they know everything and they'll just be dismissive. And she said, well, we don't have to have working cameras. I said, oh, you don't? So I went back to our lawyers and I put a bill for it. And that was kind of changed. And then that apartment complex, they sent people from California to come and meet with me to kind of resolve issues. We're on good footing now, but that's what it took. It really took, we had met with the management. We had sent emails to the management that was out in California, no response. When we put the bill forward that required them to put the security cameras there and listed them as the reason why, they came and brought their whole team to leave. So that is going on with a lot of these apartment buildings. They are owned by people that don't live here. And oftentimes you have to go to the extreme to get them to pay attention.
Okay, but with that being said, like when it came to Heather Hills, I think in the article it was like how they had months of they were non-compliable or something like that. They couldn't like there was
for more than months. It was a long time.
But they were still charging people for rent. And then right when they got back in business, they started charging, sending people to court and shit. So with people, I'm sorry, with people with no money for lawyers, what are the mechanisms to protect tenants and their rights?
And that's come up quite a bit. I do know that some years ago at the state level, they were putting forth almost like an arbitration committee that you would go to instead of going to court. Because what we found is that court is a deterrence for most residents. Most residents, even if they have issues, the idea of going to court is very, it's a high stake burden that many don't want to take, and they're nervous about the process. They don't know everything. The issue is funding that agency to do it because we don't have necessarily a landlord tenant agency. I do know with the rental assistance, they were looking at something like that. So we're going to look at legislation to really create an arbitration board. The issue is that it's much harder. Apartment buildings can be very frustrating. They will really run to the state. So we might have to do something, push the state to do it at the state level. There has been pushback, but that's actually the answer, is to create an arbitration process that's outside of court so that a resident will feel comfortable at no charge to the resident. We did that. I actually did this with the HOA bill, and we can do the same to resolve the issues, because what happens is that people are living in very in untenable conditions, but when they usually don't go to court, they don't say very much until things get really bad. And to be honest, they run to the news before they run to their elected officials. So because of that, it takes a little long time to resolve it. And then of course, now I would say an apartment building has a right to collect rent every month. That's a contractual relationship. The difference is that unfortunately, the only time these issues come up about the inhabitability of the actual apartment is when they do go to court, because they're backed by 3-4 months. Now that, and of course, a court will say, well, this should be resolved, but you still have to pay some rent, especially if you're still living there. But if it's completely uninhabitable, then that's something that, that comes up in your court process. But the point is, we really need an arbitration process so that people can resolve the issues without going to the news, because really, a lot of times we hearing about these issues. I heard about some issues on the border of my district, frankly, because the news called me. And some residents might not know, get really frustrated, and the first thing they'll call the news. But what we need to do is get the attorney general involved. All of those things takes filing complaints and investigations and takes some time.
I definitely think you hit the nail on the head that the owners don't fix up the things that need to be fixed because they don't think the residents deserve it.
That's crazy.
They don't care.
I definitely
when you're in California, collecting dollars, you don't care.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And I think that there should be something put in place. I agree with your arbitration idea. I definitely think that would be great, and it would allow residents to go through a process without having to go to the courts. But I do think there needs to be a law in place that makes things more immediate, because people shouldn't have to live like that for so long.
Yeah.
And go.
Well, the issue is Right. So the issue is going through a bit of a due process, which means filing a complaint, investigations, things like that. So a more immediate violation is a little harder and who to go to. So we do need to think it through because there's, like I said, there's no state agency that deals directly with just landlord tenant issues. And that's where we need to find where to house this arbitration process. And in addition, again, even with the arbitration process, they will usually be required some time of like a hearing and things like that before you get a final decision. And we need to sort of limit what the use, what what will be the focus of those arbitrations that needs to be determined too. So I definitely think that I understand. I think the answer is getting a process that a resident will be comfortable using immediately versus sitting for months stewing because you're sitting in heat or uninhabitable situation.
Yeah, especially if you got to pay $2,000 for a 2-bedroom or something like that. Back to the rent cap bill. Under the new law, rent increases for most rental units in PG County are capped at 6%, right?
Up to 6%. So it cannot increase up to 6%. It has to be under 6%. Now, let me just say this. This only applies to buildings that were built before 2000. So the downside about this bill is that nothing after 2000, this does not apply. Now, I would tell you this is where we need people to speak up more. We get so much pushback when Councilwoman Orietta, who is the main person that's been the biggest advocate for this, rent stabilization, most of those apartments that you're talking about when inhabitable conditions are in her district. And she's been the big advocate. When we first got to the council, that's what we wanted to do.
I'm sorry, what was her name? What's her name?
Orietta.
Okay.
To bring the rent stabilization to place. That was one of her biggest advocacies that she wanted to do. But we got so much pushback from the developers. Developers said that if this passed, this will shut everything down. They won't be able to develop anything. They won't get funding for anything, blah, blah, blah. So we had so much pushback that a lot of our council members were nervous about stopping development in the county. Now, I would say this is typical. Anything that the business community does not want, they will claim that the sky will fall. And I'm saying that there has to be a balance. I've worked with
Has to be a balance.
It has to be a balance. And the reality is that we have a growing homeless population. That is reality. The reality is that a lot of people did have some more affordable rents in the 2000s, and they might be in the same place. And now it shot up. Now, I gave a story of my own father who lived in a building in District Heights that he started off at 800 when he first moved in 2006. By the time he passed away in 2018, but by 2018, the actual rent had doubled to $1,600. Now, to be honest, no inflation has gone up to that point. So why would it double?
Right.
So that's what we're seeing a lot. We see a silent group of people. It is one of those things where it's not visible. You're not going to see people lined up on the street. But it's a growing population that's looking for places to stay because the rent is very high. And I would say that the biggest one is senior community. That building that I told you about, that was a building that we were first invited to because there were seniors there that had rents that were $1,100 that they had gotten notice that their rent was going up to $1,600. Now, can you imagine? One of the ladies was 90 years old. Tell me how a 90-year-old woman is going to find an extra $600 to pay. And so when they actually tried to put them out by illegally trying to evict them so that they could do exactly what those people were saying, so that they could redo, if they actually moved them out, they can remarket the apartment closer to 2000. Like 1900, 2000. That's really what they wanted to do. We figured it out and reported them to DPI after we passed rent stabilization.
Good.
So yeah, I would tell you all this is very worrisome. After 2000, those buildings are not protected, and really, we have more work to do.
We can get them to move together like in one house, like in Golden Girls. Thank you for being a friend.
You need houses that you can do that. And I would say that that's actually a concept that we should embrace. I would say this, they say the top mental health epidemic that's growing in the United States is loneliness, that a lot of people are living alone. But I would say a lot of our seniors, this is something people don't realize, they are living alone, and they're living alone simply because they cannot afford to move into these apartments, meaning that they have a house with a mortgage that's maybe 1,000 or 1,200 or less. But they have been in the house for 30 years, so it's a fixed mortgage. If they sold their house, they could move into an apartment that might just shoot up to 2,000 above. So they stay in their houses, and oftentimes they're not equipped to stay in those houses because they can no longer go up
Steps.
and down the
Wow.
steps. Things like that. So we have seen, I was door knocking where I found a lot of even women that were stuck, couldn't go up the steps, so they had to shower because they couldn't go up the steps to their bathrooms upstairs, and they basically didn't know how to sell if they sold their home. Sometimes they have second mortgages on their home, all types
Wow.
of
Yeah.
financial issues that they can't override. So we did say that the best concept is to try to get these people to maybe have people
Golden
move
Girls.
like a Golden Girl situation, which would actually allow
Yeah.
them to pay their rents.
Okay. We got Leslie Olabisi in the house. Let us know you're here, Leslie. All right.
Yes. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. We're talking about the rent cap bill. But cool. Let me ask you.
Mhm.
I'm not sure if you're employed, brother, but but the last job you had, how much did if they gave you a raise? How much was it?
Jeez, that last job, man, I could be honest. I was only making 500 a pay period.
$500 a
That
pay
was
period?
years ago. That was years ago. I had the 500 a pay period. It
Were
was
you knocking
terrible.
down Berry Farms or something? Were you helping
Look,
them?
trust me, this was 20 years ago. This is like 20 years ago, but it was
Okay.
definitely like 500. And look, my weird self, I call myself going apartment hunting. And at that time, it was maybe, I think a studio apartment at the time was maybe 900 or
Good old
850.
days. Bring those days back. The
That
reason
sounds
why
Yeah.
about right.
I
Yeah.
asked because most people they're working a year and they are getting a 50-cent raise. So
Yeah.
when you say the rent is capped at 6%, why are rental increases caps are disproportionate to wage increases? But you already spoke on that. But
As again, I told you, we have a fight with it's up to 6%. So between 3 and 6%, it could go up to 6%. Now, I will say we are fighting with our development community that's saying that any rent cap will shut them down completely. They would not be able to it cost the cost of everything. But we don't even understand that, because if it was like new development rent stabilization only applies to when you rent out after you re-rent the property. So meaning that if you open up, you can open up and say this apartment is 3,500, and then if the person, and then that means you can only go 6% up 3,500, but your initial rent
right,
is
okay.
capped. It's only when you re-rent, just the open, just renewal of rent. So what we didn't understand is, I don't understand how this will even impact banks when you have the right to set the market rate that you want for your initial new building. So we don't really understand it. And of course, this is re-renewal. So meaning that if I'm paying 1,500 and I renew, that means you can't raise it beyond 3%. But if I move out and then somebody else comes in, you can start wherever you can start whatever market rate at that time. So there's ways around this that we just don't understand why there was so much opposition. But again, we had it is just not easy. What we were able to do, temporary rent stabilization limited to 3%, but permanent rent stabilization is where we had more opposition.
Leslie, you good?
Uh-oh.
It seems
Yeah.
as if that you would probably employ the citizens to get involved
We
more.
do. We really need people to show up. I mean, with rent stabilization, one thing that really helped, it was going to be nothing if CASA, I got to give CASA the credit, did not pack the room in every moment when rent stabilization came up. They were the biggest advocates for it, and it really made a difference. When people show up, understand that when they say things happen in the darkness, that is really true. Democracy truly dies in darkness. So if you are not there, you don't show up. Those that are opposing will say, look, this is a big issue. You don't want to be on the wrong side of this issue. And elected officials are very much impacted by the visual of, if it's an empty room and you see developers here, sometimes you do know, I would say every bill, there's going to be some business that says the sky is falling. That's just the way that they advocate for themselves. And if sometimes you do think, do I want to be stopping business in Prince George's County? That's how you have that scare.
All
But
right.
what we learn is packing people in the room makes a difference. That's what happened with the senior tax credit. The senior tax credit, at one point, one of our representatives was threatened that if he put this bill forward, they was going to die. But what they didn't know is that we were going to pack that room. So it really, we just need people to show up in the room.
All right. Well, I gotta talk. Let's talk about the 24-hour tobacco stores that's littered all through the city. If you were like an alien or something, and you came into the city and you see in a mile there's 5 24-hour tobacco shops, you would think these people must love smoking.
Right. Right. It's a really big problem. We passed a bill in 23 that would limit these tobacco shops coming 2 years from now. But I just want to tell people what just happened here. Starting 2 years ago, when I first came into office, that was one of the things that we decided to put a bill for. The tobacco stores were going to be limited, meaning that if you sold 5% of tobacco, over 5% of tobacco products, you were considered a tobacco store. And because of that, in 2 years, we had to give 2 years because legally you can't, what was permitted, because it was permitted at one point. This is what happened when you don't regulate ahead of time. You wait till after the fact. Then you got to wait to implement restrictions. So what our lawyers told us is that you can't immediately just shut them down because they were permitted by law, and that's why they open. So we gave them a 2-year time period. In 2 years, they have to move to the industrial zone. We gave them 2 years. Now, what they did, if you notice, you probably not, because it was very slick, they removed tobacco from their stores, from the marquee on the stores. So they started to remove that. And then they started to add like chips and all types of other stuff to it to go over that 5%. So I watched one in Forestville because my district is Forestville, and literally what you're saying happens in Forestville. You literally have a tobacco shop almost every other block. And I watched one where they increased that. Now, one of our biggest concerns was DPI, because you can pass all the bills you want. And we were told this before, warned of this before, but there's a reality. You could pass 50 million bills, but if the agency does not implement them, then it doesn't matter. And what happened was that DPI just wasn't enforcing the rules. So some of these stores.
I'm sorry, can you let the people know what that is?
That is the Department of Permitting and Inspection. So they do the inspections, permitting. They're the ones that can shut you down. No other agency can shut you down. So what we found is that we were seeing these stores that continuously had these flashing lights that were saying tobacco shops, all of those things that were flashing. And that was in the law that we passed. That was restrictions. Also making sure that they were designated tobacco store. They were following the rules. They had to close at 8 p.m. Cannot be 24 hours anymore. So we saw ones that were 24 hours. When we had passed a law that basically they said that they can be open past 8 p.m. So when we went and talked to DPI said that they were overwhelmed. They couldn't implement the law. So there goes the law just flying out of the window, because if a tobacco shop knows they can violate the rules, they're not going to do anything. Now, for the future, we did just recently pass a bill that any convenience stores cannot be within a mile radius of another convenience store. But that's for future. That doesn't impact what's sitting now. Now, the 2-year time has come up. So that was 23 when we passed the bill. So in mid-25, they would have to move to the industrial zone. And I'm just betting that we're going to have a rough time. But we will, once that comes up, I will be sending letters for DPI to shut some of them down if they're still there. But I do think that you're going to see a change, because we saw immediate change with some of them where it became more of a convenience store than a tobacco.
Leslie, cool. Y'all want to go at it? I mean,
Good,
yeah,
good,
I guess some.
good evening, Miss Blegay. How are you this
Good,
evening?
good,
Thank
good,
you for
good.
being here. I wanted to ask you, just staying on this topic, is what are the pitfalls or what are the downsides do you see with these tobacco stores?
Well, here's the thing, is what people found, what I found, and I would say this, I grew up in Washington, D.C., where usually people would do sort of the when it drug exchanges, things like that, they would usually happen in the more abandoned places. But that's not the practice in Prince George's County. They almost want to hide in plain sight. They will go to like, I mean, we had an issue with BP gas station in Forestville where they would just kind of park
On
their cars
Pennsylvania
there.
Avenue?
Yeah, yeah. That's in my district.
Why do I know that? Gas
Everywhere
station
they say you don't even get
like
gas
that.
over there.
I mean, I grew up
There's so
around
much activity there. And that activity they found that it was a full out drug market. Um, what we found is that these tobacco stores have allowed a lot of drug activity or things to go on in the parking lots around them. So people kind of sit around them and loiter, and it just creates issues. We don't get that. And people say people can do that anyway, but we don't get that we don't get
from
that
other
from
businesses.
restaurants. We don't get that from there.
Right.
It's
Got it.
really like the tobacco stores and gas stations. That's where we see
Yeah.
the most activity. And so we
Because
really
there's
want to,
always a reason. It's plausible
right.
accessibility. I mean, there's
Right.
always a reason for you to be there without anybody really pointing out
Right.
or
Right.
delineating how long you got to be there,
Right.
why there's so many people there. You don't. There's no restrictions.
Right. And
Mhm.
so, yeah, and what happened was that you will find that around those areas, any business that was trying to get legitimately people walking in and out would oftentimes close because of the constant crime around their restaurant. So we really found that and I just would say, why do we need so many? If you have one or two
Right.
on a long strip, why do you need one at every corner? I mean, we don't understand the need of it, but Prince George's County has an oversaturation issue. And what we actually told people when things are approved, because they say, why do we have this there? But they don't understand the process.
Right.
When we approve a project, we approve it whether it's commercial or residential. We don't determine what goes in there. It's the leasing of the developer that determine what goes where. The
Right.
only way that we can control it is through passing bills like limiting them within a radius and things like that. But other than that, they're allowed to lease to whoever whatever there is permitted
All
unless
right.
we specifically ban it.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
now it feels like you guys are going to target them. I think when a part of the bill or something like that, it says all convenience stores are also required to close at 10 p.m.
Right.
As a business owner of a tobacco shop, I need to be open past 10.
Well, that's
So
your problem. We don't understand why you need to be. Again, like I said before,
somebody might need some chips or some blunts at 12
So
o'clock.
the tobacco
Right,
stores,
cool.
do they sell snacks like
It's
a convenience
7-Eleven.
store?
Well, we found that they were doing more of it once we passed the bill. So some places they always had some snacks, but I would say prior to the initial bill passed in 2023, it was more tobacco paraphernalia and maybe some snacks. But what we saw was that once we passed the bill, they added a whole bunch of snacks. So that brings the percentage down so they could say we're less than 5%.
Mm.
Of their goods sold, of tobacco goods sold, so
Right,
that they could qualify.
right.
I noticed
Hmm.
it hit
So
BPs too.
so that's the commercial end. What about as far as the school side? Now, I actually met you one year,
Mhm,
I think 2 years ago, in the barbershop. You were making your rounds, you were in the mix in the community. And I
mhm.
like that about you. And I asked you a
Yep.
tough question and you didn't back down. And you were like, well,
What
I'm
you ask?
gonna try. Well, at the same question I ask anybody that will listen when it comes to Prince George's County public school system and
Mhm.
my level of disappointment in its performance, comparatively speaking to my own personal experience, and independently of just the experience I have with my son, who is now in the 10th grade at Charles Herbert Flowers High School. And not only that, there was Kettering Middle, there was Drew Freeman Middle, there was Perrywood Elementary. I am so bothered by the lack of what seems to be systemic obligation and consequence for the performance of teachers and administration to operate in ways that are for the children, that are pro instruction, that are pro accountability, and communicative with families. The thing is, the issues that I have personally observed, and this comes from because I live in DC, but my son's father lives in Maryland. My son goes to a Maryland school, but there was other times we lived in DC and my son went to DC schools. He went to Tyler Elementary, which was a Spanish immersion school. He went to a DC public charter school, Shining Stars Montessori, of which I was the parent representative on the school board. I was on the DC PTA, the DC chapter of the PTA for DC. I was a room parent. I'm a field trip mom. I'm a PTA mom. I participated in all these things. And the things that I noticed and observed, they don't have anything to do with money. They have to do with teachers.
Right. It is
and their
money.
performance.
It's money.
And the accountability.
Teachers are money.
It's still money. The reality is that
Okay.
we pay our people less than all the surrounding jurisdictions. So we have teachers that start off at the same rate as the other jurisdiction, but the rate to move up is much higher in other jurisdictions. So a lot of people who start off in Prince George's County, we're almost like a training ground. They go to DC or other places. So
is that why we have so many permanent substitute teachers?
So we have a lot of substitute teachers.
That we don't hear about.
We have a lot of substitute teachers. It's hard, and we do. I would say this: we don't pay as much as other jurisdictions, so it impacts sort of what you get. And then I will be honest there, because I don't want to say our teachers are doing the best they can. We don't have enough support systems because we have less money. I mean, I would say there's a difference. I will say with those areas where you have working parents that do not have time, the PTAs are simply very weak, and the people that usually handle them, after a while, they're doing everything, and then they get jaded, and then they say, forget it. And the principal is dealing with putting out fires all day. So then they don't have time to go and cultivate. So I would say they have a community school coordinator
community school coordinator. Okay.
And those are the ones that are supposed to help cultivate these PTAs. But frankly, we were talking to one school coordinator where they're calling people and they're more interested in the turkey giveaway than because they need food, right? Like they don't have enough food at home, things like that. So it's more complicated.
Yeah, they got looking for a food drive, and you got and your living conditions.
It seemed like everything, the root, well, not the root of it all, but the solution to all the problems would be citizens getting more involved. Even though, and I know it, even though you're busy, we have to find some type of time for community, because we miss that. And I noticed there's a volunteer coach that I look around and I'm like, it's not a lot of it around. It's not a lot of it.
Remember, I said the biggest pandemic issue and now is loneliness. The reality is that people live in their silos. Even that people that have their kids, they pick up their kids, they go home. They don't engage in the community. They don't do that. So the reality is that even when they find in a public school, when they have a problem child, the problem child is very difficult to get a parent in to say the problem child is where you find this very difficult for the parents to engage. They actually say that the highest number of, when you deal with these kids that are involved with crime, the correlation is truancy. They almost don't come to school.
Yes, that's true. I was a parent engagement specialist and community outreach coordinator.
I guess we could have had Kamala Harris to lock up all the women, but let's get to data centers in PG.
Councilwoman. And I can't wait to talk about that. So what's
let me break it down. But you talk about the budget and how the county needs some more money. So data centers in PG, the council voted to hold CB 52 until next year due to community support. Many believe that data centers will bring more air pollution and more possibility to blackouts in the area. Many feel that the bill will remove public accountability from data center development process.
They will.
What are your
They're
thoughts
right.
on that? And did you support it? What's up?
So I was actually the one that suggested we hold it, and that was my colleagues agreed. Let me just say this, and I would say this. With data centers, we need the money, but we also need to not put the cart before the horse because there are big implications for putting this forward. When I looked at the budget now, Loudoun County has 181 data centers. For 181 data center, it adds
Amazon, Google,
$600
Facebook.
million to their budget. Now, I'm just going to say, and the reason why I'm just making that clear is because this is not a windfall of money. It takes 181 of those to get 600 million. Remember, I told you our budget is in the billions. So it's going to add money, but it's not going to be like $5 billion for one data center. Even in Prince William County, they have around 30 data centers, and 30 data centers brings $100 million. Now, I'm not saying that this is nothing, but what I'm saying is that when you put it in perspective, we're talking about one data center. So we're talking about maybe at a possibility of 3. So what we need to do is not put the cart before the horse. What actually has been proven is that data centers require a lot of electricity that will impact almost entire communities. There will huge water usage, right? That impacts. So it's like we're going to bring this in and we don't have the infrastructure to handle the electricity, the water, the noise issue that they have. So here's what I was saying is that what we need to do with that CB 52 was going to remove them from putting forth a preliminary plan. So we basically are going to allow them not to provide us with no safeguards. So we're going to give them carte blanche, like we're going to open it up and say, oh, build the data center, and we basically all you need to do is give us some quick plans. We already voted. We have a process for every other development has to put a DSP, a detailed site plan that gives you an outline of everything. We already removed that from data centers. Now they're trying to remove the other process. It's too much. So what we're saying now,
and it didn't have to pay taxes or something like that, or I don't know.
Well, here's the thing. We actually set the taxes, so we can set them high, but the reality is that
it'll never be high enough.
It impacts our electricity of our residents here.
Right.
Now,
it won't be high
enough? So that's what we said. So what I said is that we're talking about millions that will come in that we need, but there's a long-term implication. We're going to be paying more money if we have to pull money to create the infrastructure for the electricity that the data center won't provide. Right. So I think it's better that we and I'm going to put a legislation forward, you all will get it in a month or so, which is going to require them to come up with an electricity plan, water usage plan, all of the plans they have to outline in detail to make us know that they won't be taken from the grid of our residents. And then that way we are better because believe it or not, if we go forward with no safeguards, what's going to happen? I've already been on the council for 2 years. I see these things. Something's going to happen with our electricity grid in a couple years.
Yes.
They're going to come to us and say how we're going to fix this. Right? It's going to start impact. And then we would have to put the money aside because people don't realize businesses don't just give you money. You have to negotiate it. So we can't, you put the cart before the horse. Once that data center is built, they don't get, they're going to say, we already paying our tax.
We already made our deal. Don't come back now asking for nothing.
In fact, we're fighting now with MGM because they're back and saying that they are paying more taxes than they should and coming back and suing us in court for it. So I'm just telling you that if we don't,
Maryland got to stop being so thirsty for corporations to come and bring businesses.
They are going to comply with whatever they need to now to get that thing built.
Are you pro corporations?
I am definitely pro corporations, but again, I believe that there should be a balance.
Right.
I think, Ms.
Last words,
Congresswoman Blegay, I think you should not be neither pro nor anti-corporations. That's where I think
she said it's a balance.
No, she said I'm pro corporations. Listen to the first part of what everybody say. Don't listen to the second part. I think you should be neither pro nor anti, and then you can have balance.
Well, I would say this. You want to say pro just because you want businesses. We don't want to send a message to any business because they say, oh, you're just anti-business. No, because they're not used to people. They're not used to people holding you accountable for
Mm-hmm.
doing what you're supposed to do is not anti-business. That's
Correct.
being balanced.
Yeah,
Correct.
right.
And
Correct.
anytime I
Okay.
have been criticized for, oh, are you anti-business? No, I'm not anti-business. I'm pro. As a government, the government has a role. If I was a representative of a data center, of course I'll tell you. Chamber
Right.
of Commerce came and said, we need this in our community. That's their job. But it's my job
Yes.
to look at all sides and make sure that the residents are protected. And that's also when I
Gotcha.
said you would listen to my comments at the hearing, and I said it clearly. I want a data center. I want a couple of data centers, but not until we have the infrastructure to support it.
Okay.
Right.
I was saying it did
That's
to
honest.
to that data center piece, and I just know as far as other communities and other aspects of your constituents, there is a lot of people that's like, okay, it's great, all of the pluses. I looked up, there was like, the AI, it gave us the positives and the negatives. There were like 3 positives, it was like 7 negatives, but that's debatable. But what I do understand about electricity, and anytime you're generating energy, and the kinetic energy and all of the things that are surrounding that space, I know that cancer is not too far away from it, whether people want to acknowledge it or not. So anytime I hear any type of center where somebody has to plug something in, I'm like, no. If you're going to build those things, I think that they need to be away from residents, because they're
going to put it right next
always
to Heather Hill Apartments, okay?
right.
And I would say
Last-
that
You know what I'm saying, though?
they implemented that law in Loudoun County that they had to be a certain percentage, certain radius away from residential things. So we definitely realize that that's something that should be considered. There are 3
And that's going to be
sites.
difficult for PG County though, because we're pretty
Congested, yeah.
tight net, and the woods and all
Not
that
as
we
much
had.
as you need. We have a lot of open land. The issue is impacting that open land. The councilman down in District 9 opened up a passed law that would make it easier to do it in Brandywine, where he's talking
South
about,
PG.
right, where he's talking about is considered to be agricultural. So some of the agricultural advocates are not happy about that, because what might happen when that data center goes in the ground, and how might that impact other soil in that area. There is one that's definitely moving forward in the Landover Mall site. Now that is closer to residents than most people will be comfortable with, and they're looking at another one in Laurel.
That's not in District 9 though, Landover Mall.
That's
in 3.
That's in 5, right?
That's in 3 sites. That's what I'm saying. One could be in Brandywine. One is definitely moving forward in Landover, at the Landover Mall site.
Oh my gosh, that's a terrible site. It's right in the center of all of us. Right. No?
Yeah.
You know,
we're gonna be glowing up in a minute.
Cause like Landover Mall, that's one more town center right there.
Councilwoman, can you tell the people where they can reach you at?
Yes, definitely. On Instagram, follow me at Wala KB. And you could contact my office. You can email me at councildistrict6@co.pg.md.us. And then my information is this side. So you can see it.
Thank you so much for joining Ish Talk.
Can I just say how much I appreciate you? Thank you for just being like real and just taking the questions as they come. And I do believe though that you're working within the system and you're doing your best, and I do believe that you have our best interests at heart, and I cannot say that about a lot of politicians. So just remember, your politician is your title, not your identity.
I appreciate that. And it's not, like I told before, I really want people to show up more, and I will use this platform. I'm going to reach out to you when we have something, because we need people to show up, so that because we get pressure from the other side. No, the business community, some of the people that are against these things, that are pro people, will bring their representatives. So we do need you all to show up to say the residents are here too.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Ish Talk TV. I forgot to ask y'all, what was going back, present to the past, what was the most lit mall in the DMV? For me,
Capitol Plaza.
What year, sir?
Capitol Plaza ain't never been the most lit. Kill yourself.
Hold on. What year, sir? What year?
No, and no year.
Between 90 and 95.
No year.
90 and 98. I would even go 88 to 95.
Oh, that's above. That is a bit
I heard-
above my pay grade.
I heard City Place. Y'all remember
Who?
City Place?
City Place was cool.
City Place used to be a spot. Let me see. For my age,
I
group, what was
remember
lit?
going to
Landover Mall was lit.
What?
You could definitely go to Landover Mall and just
What?
kick
had
it.
the little
It had all the
3D
all the
ride jump, the
fountains. It had rides. It had
ride
2
jump. They
levels where you could hunt and
used
go
to
for.
shake and shit.
It had
Yeah,
the
the little black
fountains.
jump. That jump was
The food
alright,
court had the
man.
Cinnabon.
That shit
It
was
had
big as
the
a mug. The
Globes.
Cinnabon jump.
And
Yeah, with
and
the
PG
fries and
Plaza.
shit.
PG Plaza was lit.
Yeah, PG might have to be a number one. I'm thinking how the people gonna talk.
PG
They're gonna go PG
Plaza.
number one or
Pentagon
Iverson
City,
Mall.
Pentagon City was also lit as
Yes,
far as like if you
Pentagon
was
City
really
was
trying
it.
to shop, like you was trying to shop.
Yeah.
People didn't want
And,
to go over
you
that
know,
bridge, but
But
they
if you
did.
wanted,
all they were.
But they'd go to
being
Pentagon
young and
City.
wanting to find places to hang out and meet girls or meet boys or meet up with your friends in a place, I feel like PG Plaza, Landover Mall, those was lit.
Yeah.
But if you wanted to go shopping, Pentagon City, Montgomery Mall was lit.
Yeah, I didn't go to Georgetown.
And Georgetown was
I ain't
lit,
make it
but
out
I was always a solo. That was always a solo trip for me. I didn't know nobody my age. And that's back when I was a label whore.
No.
I did a lot of
I
window
ain't make
shopping.
it out there. I ain't make
A
it
lot
out
of window shopping. And then I got a job out there at Commander Salamander. It didn't last long because I was so irresponsible. But I was out there. Yeah, because I was always into the fly shit. But I was like I like the quirky off the wall shit, you know.
There you go.
Commander Salamander was like the rock.
I had never heard of that before. Is that something like
you remember Up Against the Wall?
Yes.
Yeah.
The same company owned them. So Commander Salamander was the rock punk version of Up Against the Wall. So it had some of the designer stuff from Up Against the Wall, urban stuff, but it had a lot of, like the bracelets with the fucking barbed wire and oversized pants, the skater jeans and the hook belts with the, with the wallets and shit like that.
Commander Salamander. All right.
Commander Salamander.
If you have shopped at Commander Salamander, you might be prone to conversation. Let us know what's your favorite, the most poppin' mall present and in the past.
Are there even any malls left?
No.
I mean, like I know that they're here, but it's like the malls are not the same anymore, are they? They don't even smell the same.
I went to
Especially if they
PG
don't have a
not too long ago.
Cinnabon.
It's still popping. It's
They
still
got a
popping out there,
Cinnabon,
Joe.
and it still got Foot Locker.
Yeah, I went in that joke, was like, yes.
I haven't been. I think in about 2 years, so I should go through.
I need to go back. I'm mad that the Invictus shop left PG Plaza. I was
The
going
what?
for that, and I was like, where the Invictus
The
shop
watches?
at? Yeah, that shit gone.
What's it called?
Was it a store or was it
Invictus.
kiosk?
It was it was a whole shop. It was like a store joint. It was like right beside. It was not too far
On the
from
right,
the
when
shoe joint.
you go to the right and on the right.
On the right hand side, when you come in and make the left and go straight down to the right hand side.
I beg you all. We from the bottom, come from nothing.